Greetings. I want you to always have an answer to this really important question that you may get in business as an entrepreneur or in your personal life. And that is, what's your value? In this video, I'm going to go through a simple process of creating a value proposition in 4 simple steps. Let's get started. Value of your product or service, or even yourself, is the perceived ratio of benefits versus costs. So a value proposition is the whole bundle of value that you bring to the table to something. It's not just delivering the product itself, but that whole value that you bring that is of importance to the consumer. So how do you go about capturing a value statement or a proposition in your overall strategy for your business or your product? There's a lot of different ways to do this, and it's often used in an advertising strategy, but I will tell you it is so important that you have this short, pithy statement in any conversation you are going to have, not only with a customer, but also with an investor or any stakeholder. And this is called a value proposition. And so the value proposition is simply a statement of your brand's benefits, whether it's functional or emotional or self-expressive, that creates value. And here's the key to that unique target audience, because value isn't the same to everyone. So you'll need to really understand that target audience and what unique value you provide to that particular customer. So why do we do this? We do this in a number of ways: to differentiate ourselves, to express to the consumer that you are solving their problem, and then to justify the price that you're using for your product. So the 4 simple steps are as such. To create a value proposition, the first thing you need to do is to create a needs-based customer profile. And if you have already created your segmentation, targeting, and positioning for your target audience, you've already done this. And this is probably the key in any building of any product and communicating to any customer. So that's the first thing you need to do. Secondly, you're going to describe the features, the benefits, the experience, all those wonderful things about your solution that solves that customer's problem and provides them value. Thirdly, communicate your unfair advantage and reasons to believe your product. This is something that's often left out of a value proposition, but you really need to hone in on this because this is your differentiator. This is why people choose you over doing nothing or using a competing product. And then finally, simply, once you've had all this together, you write a position statement. So we're going to go through these 4 simple steps. First of all, what is a value proposition? It is a clear statement that describes the benefit of your offer. It describes how you're going to solve your customers' needs, and again, distinguishes you from your competition. So the step 1, the first thing you need to do, you need to understand your target audience. You should have already done this by now in your targeting and positioning and segmentation. But what you really need to focus on, as we do with any segmentation exercises, is understand what's in the head of your user, your target audience. What problems are they facing in their life that need to be solved? So we go towards the emotions. What are their fears? What are their frustrations? What overwhelms them? And what do they love about life? So if we can hone in on the emotional attributes that a consumer has, you're going to be able to describe to them your value in how you solve these problems. So I have a little grid here, and I want you to go through and think of a target audience and go through the process of getting into their heads and describing each of these emotional factors. Once you have the problem or the need, now the trick is to take your features, your value, your experiences, and you take those and create a solution-based statement on how you solve that problem or need. This isn't a list of features. This is how does your feature or your product or your experience solve that need? This is a really important step, and this is how you are going to communicate that value to the customer. All right, the third thing we're going to do. We have competitors, right? And one of the most important competitors that you may not think about is doing nothing. So a consumer always has a choice. They can choose to solve their problem, or they can choose to not care, or maybe delay solving their problem. So don't only think of the competitors that are in the market today or other ways of solving a problem. You need to think about how do you get them off of the status quo of doing nothing. Secondly, what is your unfair advantage? Now, this is where a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of marketers struggle. Because if you've heard from any of my other videos, oftentimes we create products that are already in market. So when you're doing that, are you really creating something new, a new reason to solve the problem? So you need to think really hard about how are you different and why does that matter? If it doesn't matter, you're likely wasting time and money. Do something else. Work for the competitor if you need to. But if you don't have an unfair advantage, you're not going to be successful. So think really long and hard about this. Now, the last thing on this piece, step 3, is your reason to believe. Now, this is one of the things that I hear when I'm working with clients, when I'm working with students. What do you mean by this? The reason to believe is I, as a consumer, need to understand that you're just not like everybody else. And that you're just not saying, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, we have the highest quality service, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you have proof that you are the best, that you have an unfair advantage, and you play to that. So I call these proof points. Every position statement has to have proof points, or you just don't matter. So what could a proof point be? And this is really hard if you're starting a new product because you may not have any data, you may not have any customers, but you need to work hard to figure out how you're going to get these proof points in a really quick manner. Or why would I choose to do business with you or try your product? A reason to believe could be we have a 5-star rating on Yelp. Or we have been approved by the American Psychological Association. Or we have 100 customers who took advantage of this service in the last 10 days, and we have 5-star reviews from them. We are the best because we were the first to market. We've figured out all the kinks. So the proof points are those reasons, factual reasons why I should choose you over the competition. Now, I will tell you, I have read hundreds and hundreds of value propositions. And one of the things that I get from clients, from students, are the blah, blah, blah messages. We're the best. We have highest quality standards. We use the best products, the highest quality. We have the highest quality features. We have one more thing than the next guy. Guess what? Those don't matter. You need to have proof, social proof that you are different and how that unfair advantage of yours really outpaces any of the substitutes, including doing nothing. So finally, you're going to craft the position statement. And the position statement clearly defines the benefit of your offer. It's going to show how your offering solves that need or that want. And then finally, what distinguishes you from the competition. So let's take a look at what I mean by this. So there is a formula. And when I say there is a formula, this is a tried and true formula. Any good company out there, you should be able to find their position statement. It's generally an internal document, not something that you're going to see communicated in some sort of promotional material, but you should be able to clearly define as you look through a company's website or promotional materials what their value is. So this is going to be your internal statement or your elevator pitch per se. It has three elements. The first is the first line. The two is the target audience, who, what's important to them or something unique about them. The product is the what it is, what it does, that differentiates your unique value because your proof point or reason to believe. So if you look at this statement, you can see that there are three different areas. The first is the who, the target audience. The second is the product. And the third is what we call your positioning. So let's look at a positioning example. So who's the best positioner in the world? Apple, Nike, you got it. The big ones. So let's go through an example. Okay, so to people, the market or the target audience is people for Apple, who these people have something behavioral. They do creative things with their computers. Maybe they're designers, freelancers. The product is the computer. So you have your laptop, or maybe you have the big desktop if you're sitting in your office, but you're using the computer to do creative things, your job. How are they different? They are the user-friendly product. So most designers use Apple's because Apple has user-friendly products. Because most marketing agencies use Macs. So if you want to land a job with an agency or you want to have some specific type of software, or even you're learning, you're likely going to learn on a Mac. So this is an example of a position statement of value to creative people for Apple. So let's look at a different Apple product. Parents. So parents have children, right? And children's needs are the kids that the parents want their kids to do their own homework. Remember COVID-19? For those of you who have kids, you know that you want your kids to do your own homework, right? And so you needed to find a solution at home for your kids to do their homework. Well, the product is the homework tool. It's no longer the computer or something to design pretty pictures with. It is the homework tool. And why do you select that? They select the Mac because it's easy to use. It's intuitive because teachers use it. And if teachers use Mac, they teach Macs. They might have Macs in the classroom. So here is the reason to believe. So there's a position statement. All right, one last one. Thrill seekers. Or let's say people who like to use their iPhone to do Instagram posts or TikTok videos. Maybe you like to share your exploits on social media. So the product is the media editor. You've got an iPhone. It's easy to use that offers the best results effortlessly because 80% of YouTube users use an iPhone. So you can see here we have three very different position statements for three very different target audiences. One company, couple of products. So let's see. Let's use you for an example, or me. So how would you do this for a person? Every person should have a value statement, right? So let's say we're going to use Dr. G. So who is my market group? Utah Tech students. Let's use my professor job. So my market group is my students, my customers who are taking marketing course and want to learn. They need their marketing degree, but they're taking this course because they want to learn how to have a successful career. The product is me, Dr. G. And what am I? I am the professor of the class. So not only am I going to teach you something, hopefully, I'm going to help you find a job with the skills you're going to obtain, but I am your professor, your teacher. That will help you achieve your goals. So how am I different from maybe other professors? Not necessarily at my university, but in general, my mission as a professor, I left a very lucrative career with a Fortune 50 company to give back to students. And why? Because I want you to achieve your goal. Because I'm knowledgeable, dedicated, and I worked in the industry for 25 years. From startups, being an entrepreneur, to Fortune 50 companies. So this is my position statement. So you can position anything. And I encourage you now to take this formula, tried and true formula, with your product and create a position statement to your target audience who describes them. The product is the frame of reference, that how you're different, because your specific proof points, and then I want you to write it out into a statement. Keep this with you, share this with your stakeholders, learn it, speak it. If you're in front of a stakeholder, an investor, or a customer, use it use it as you develop your promotional materials. So to wrap it up, what are the 4 steps in creating a value proposition? Understand that target audience and create a needs profile. Describe your value, your features, your experiences to solve customer problems. Communicate your unfair advantage and the reasons to believe your product provides value. And then create a position statement. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope that you, not only in your personal life, but for your products and services, take the time to create an amazing value proposition. It will pay off over and over again.